I tell you the truth, what goes around definitely does come around. You know, it goes back to Einstein's theory. I refer to this all the time. I don't believe it's a theory, it's a fact. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It simply goes from one source to another. It's the truth. You know, this is a situation where I want to share a scenario that I came across last week, and it just kind of gave me a flashback of some sorts. Now, I've shared with you guys in my lives, and as well as in some of my testimony, that I was I was the nerdy kid, okay? I just didn't fit in all the way around. I didn't fit in physically, and I didn't fit in mentally. When I got in high school, I came out of my shell a little bit, but it still wasn't, I was never a candidate for being most popular, or in a positive way. I was never a candidate for Miss Congeniality or most attractive. I was never a candidate for any of those things. But I did very well in school. I enjoyed learning, and I still enjoy learning. You always had that group of people that always pick on the nerds. And, you and I both know that's a form of jealousy, because they're jealous of the fact that you know something that they don't, and that learning, you have a desire for learning, and that learning comes easy for you. That's the reason why a lot of them pick on you. They may pick on you because it seems like for your appearance, but deep down they feel inadequate around you. They feel stupid. They feel slow. They just feel insignificant around you. And so what they'll do is they'll pick on you. It's a defense mechanism, so to speak. That's what they do. So when they get a little bit older, a lot of them may change their attitude, because they get through this thing called life, and they realize that the knowledge that they needed when they were in school was necessary for them to have in order to survive in this world. That they needed good reading skills, that they needed good math skills, good analytical and critical thinking skills for the jobs that they had, because if they didn't have them, they would be stuck with low-paying jobs for the rest of their life. And for a lot of them, they wind up having obligations where they are required to learn more. It could be a job that they could have been on, but because the job is going into a different direction, they have to go into some kind of specialized training that may require classroom training. See, a lot of people don't think about these things. So a lot of them will get in a situation like that, and they cannot comprehend what is being taught to them because they didn't pay attention. They weren't there, whether it's physically or mentally. For whatever reason why education was not a priority in their household, I don't know why. When you were a child, when we were children, especially people of color, there was nothing else to talk about. When you were a child, you went to school. Period. There wasn't no involved in adult situations and handling adult situations and being privy to adult situations and adult conversation. You were a child. Your job as a child was to go to school, to get an education so you can learn how to take care of yourself when you got grown and anybody else you bring along. It was your job. There wasn't any discussion as to whether or not do you want to go to school today. I saw a video the other day, and it just blew my mind. It was about a family that was being evicted, as a matter of fact. And this woman was apparently, it was a kind of documentary type thing. And so they're sitting up there trying to go through the normal day of a situation, and the woman was talking about how the children are starting to get depressed behind it, and they don't want to go to school. And I hear her getting up in the morning, going in the room and asking the child, talk about, it's time to get up. Do you want to go to school today? Ain't nobody asked me if I was going to school today. My ass was going to school. What are you doing asking a child that doesn't even have any critical thinking or anything like that? Now, you the adult, okay? I'm going to get on some folks. You the adult. You going to turn around and ask it? No. When you are a child, that's what you do. When you are a child, that's a learning period. You go to institutions of learning. You don't turn around and say, oh, do you want to go to... No. And if that's not the type of school that you want your child in, take them to another one. Or address the issue. There are so many other ways that a person could be educated. But the thing is that you're exposing all of these things. There were a lot of things that adults dealt with when I was a child where I didn't understand and wasn't even I wasn't even part of the conversation. I wasn't allowed to listen to the conversation. I wasn't allowed to be even exposed to it. Why? Because my mind was on my homework. My mind was on school. And because of that, I did well with it. I was taught that school was a place where you learn and that you enjoyed what you learned and you shared what you learned and you became a productive citizen. It was a good experience for me. I looked forward to going to school. I looked forward to finding out what I could learn today. Knowledge intrigued me. It still intrigues me now. That's why I'm constantly learning and constantly trying to, learn different things. Even though I'm over 50 years old, I will never, as long as I'm on this earth, say that I proclaim to know everything and that I don't need to learn anything else. No, that would be the end of me. I know that this world is changing. And the purpose of an education and a child going to school is so they can be prepared for the society that is out there. There wasn't any choice. There wasn't any discussion. You got parents nowadays sitting up here having discussions as to whether or not their child wants to go to school. That was just something that we did. There wasn't anything to think about. If it was Monday morning in the middle of October and it wasn't a teacher holiday, you got up, the alarm clock went off, you got up and you got ready and you got dressed and you did whatever that you had to do and you went to school. There wasn't no discussion. There wasn't. And then those same people, when CPS or DFACS or whatever the agency is, comes along and finds out that your child's not being educated and they want to take your child away from you, turn around and want to get upset about it. What the hell are you getting upset about it for? Why are you getting upset? You apparently didn't care about the welfare of the child. Now, I do understand that there are situations where parents are in altered states. I ain't talking about them. I'm not talking about the people whose minds are messed up because of mental illness or drugs or anything like that, because they're not operating in a regular headspace. I'm talking about these so-called people that are supposed to be sober, that are supposed to be in their right, that they're functional every single day. I'm not talking about people who are messed up. I'm talking about average, everyday people going to turn around and go into the bed. Y'all. And then this woman was a person of color. That's what struck me in my heart. She sat up there telling the person who's doing the documentary how depressed her kids are. Part of the reason why your kids are depressed is because, first of all, you got them exposed to this adult situation that you were responsible for. And they cannot comprehend in their little minds. What you should do is, if that is that much of a struggle and affects your behavior to that point, have them stay with someone else and go to school every single day. Those kids don't need to be exposed to that until you figure out what's going on with their situation. Do it. Because you ain't in your right mind right now when you turn around. This child must have been about 8 or 9 years old. Went into the bedroom and turned the light on. The child pulled the covers over their heads. Oh, it's time to go to school. You want to go to school today? There was a point in time where our people, and I'm talking about people of color, not just African Americans, but people of color, we all know, if we study our history, that education was the only way out to freedom for us. That was the only way for us to be free. Either that or we're back in shackles. And even though the physical shackles aren't there, they are in the form of a prison suit, yes. There are still psychological and mental shackles, and you got people around here going to have the nerve to sit up there and tease someone because they want to be educated. You want to tease someone because they want to try to learn something? Project this image that having knowledge is bad? I'm so glad that society is turning to a point now where they're beginning to acknowledge the nerds. There was a few movies in the 80s and 90s called Revenge of the Nerds, and I thought those were the cutest movies. Bunch of awkward guys. But at the end of the day, when there was a crisis, they were the ones that saved the day. Why? Because they had the knowledge. They had the knowledge. They could figure it out because they learned. They had the spirit of learning. They didn't have time to worry about what outfit they're going to wear to the dance or which weave they're going to buy out the store. They didn't have time to worry about things like that. And the funny part about it is now that I'm getting older and I know who I am as a person and that I'm a constant learner, I've come across quite a few of those same people that I distinctly remember, and you know who you are. They used to give me a very hard time about not fitting in because I was a nerd. And those same people are asking for advice on things that they should have learned when we was in school. Same thing. And that's what's going to happen. So if you're in one of those situations where I used to be, where, people kind of give you a hard time, the good thing for you to do, find people just like you and just make them your tribe, who have the same mindset. Once you start surrounding yourself by people who have the same type of consciousness that you have, you really don't worry about the people on the outside who have something to say about it, because you're busy trying to learn and grow with the people who are trying to learn and grow. Because the day is going to come later on where those same people who criticized you for the way that you were so nerdy, so geeky, and this, that, and the other, and they thought it was cute and funny, those same people are going to come back to you for help one day. I'm going to be honest with you. Some of the people in the religious sectors might think that I'm being rough and I'm being vengeful. No, my thing is this. I decide who I'm going to help. I have to. Because once upon a time I was helping a whole bunch of people, and then I'd turn around and they would give me their ass to kiss, and then I'm sitting up here having a pity party wondering why I gave help to the wrong person.